and welcome to Get Valiant number 136.
Boom. Here we are, number 136. The one everybody's clearly been waiting for. We have huge Bloodshot news. As you guys may know, I got a Storefolio.
Yes.
That's the huge Bloodshot news.
Oh,
I don't know if anything else Bloodshot related happened.
I don't think so. We can just end the show right there.
Yeah, that was my big Bloodshot news.
I have the Exo folio, and I really love those, man. They're really awesome. So they're great for a con, and actually it looks pretty decent on the shelf when you have it up there. So.
Yeah, well, and it has so much art on like the front. It has this Massafera, I think, is who did that, and then the back has that Miko Swayan piece, or however you say his name. The inside even has Girello and Swayan art. I don't know. It's cool as fuck. Anyway, I'm just messing around. Obviously, we're going to talk about the trailer and everything, but we got big news today, and I'm super stoked that it dropped on a Wednesday because we actually get to talk about it, because usually news doesn't drop on Wednesdays, so I'm really stoked that we actually get to talk about the fact that there is going to be a Ninjak series.
That's right.
Something.
Yeah, that image is really cool.
Yeah, and I think we had heard, not Eric, but John and I had heard some little bit of whispers at Emerald City that they're going through pitches and things like that, hoping the book would happen. So the image that's right there of the sword with the bloody hand looks awesome. And I think I speak for everyone here when I say that I really hope that B. Claymore, who's currently writing Killers, is going to be attached to this. That would be a dream to me, just with how great that series is. Having something that leads right into hopefully an ongoing, B. Claymore would be great for it.
Yeah, B. Claymore on it would be great. I had heard whispers of different artists that could be attached to it. And I hope the one that I'm hoping, I'm not going to say right now, I hope would be on it, would be great. But what B. Claymore is doing with Killers is awesome. And where what's going to happen with Roku, this could line up with a Cullen Bunn story. You never know with that, because Roku's around the corner too. So yeah, there's a lot of places that can go. And so far that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books pretty much announced for 2020 on the Valiant 2020 hashtag. So we know it's going to be a Exo Manowar. There's the Dr. Tomorrow that we speculated. There's Quantum and Woody. Then we got Ninjak. And we have that detective one that we still don't really know what it is. And we have a Shadow Man. So there's some cool Valiant 2020 stuff coming around.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. Like, we just got... I was looking at when I was reading Dr. Mirage, I was looking at the thing that has the, what's coming up or whatever. And you see, or maybe it was the solicits or I don't know what I was looking at, but you just look at the lineup of the issues that are coming out and you see, everything's on issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're getting new books every single month. Constantly getting new material, and I think that allows for a good range of new stuff that we haven't seen before and the classic characters. So we're getting whatever this Dr. Tomorrow is, the I can never remember, or Stormbreaker or whatever that is. We're getting that, and then what is. So that's something new, and then we're also going to get Ninjak. We're going to get, apparently Shadow Man, Quantum and Woody. Like you said, we don't know what the difference is. That's something new as well. Like, I don't know, man. It's pretty awesome that we're just constantly getting this new stories. And like Josh was saying, I really hope that Ninjak is written by B. Claymore. Hoping that they're announcing it now, because issue 5 will lead into what is going to come out into what will turn into Ninjak. Obviously, I have no idea, but that would be really cool in my opinion. But either way, I'm happy we're getting a Ninjak book, and I'm happy with the lineup that we're looking to have going into 2020.
Yeah, and one thought I have on that lineup is, it just seems like Valiant obviously had a plan going forward of what they wanted to publish in the next coming year. And they've taken a beating from the fans a little bit with what books have come out this year. People have been very critical of them. And we've said from before, if you just give the company some time, to kind of go through the motions and get things set up. They have set up everything for a very exciting period that will culminate right around the time that the movie comes out. There's going to be a lot of great books, a lot of these classic characters that we all know and love, and right around February, it's not just going to be exciting, to go to the movies and see Bloodshot, but we're going to have a couple of these books ready to go ahead and be picking up at the comic shops. And those are the characters that we want people obviously to read, but it just feels to me like they had a plan, and if we could have all been just a little bit patient and given them just a little bit credit for doing what they have to do, we would have found out, what everything would be that would be coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I'm speculating is a really cool February Bloodshot Zero. That's going to be like a huge book. I believe we're going to get a Bloodshot Zero in February. Speculation, but I'll mark my words. That's what I'm predicting.
You and Moose both.
I think it may happen. And then I also Outright Geekery, Henry's on there, and he's saying he's looking forward to The Visitor, which is next month too. So another one that's there around the corner as well. There's a lot coming out. Having talked to, I know somebody was on here. I think it might have. I'm trying to think. It was DB was on there talking about how he wants Harbinger, and from what I've known about Robert Myers told me he's not going to put out. He's going to take his time, make sure the story's right, make sure it's good this time. Kind of run with that. So I know that the last arc wasn't very great with Harbinger, and so hopefully we can get that squared away. I'm looking forward to it too. One of my favorite books. But I guess we could kind of get into what everybody's already talking about is the kind of the trailer that's going on. What do you guys think?
I think we should talk about Dr. Mirage.
Talk about Dr. Mirage first? Okay. So
and then I think we should get into the full-on trailer because we're going to go nuts on that trailer. You and I.
Well, we can do our review real quick, and then we can spend the rest of the time talking about the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
And so for you guys that are new,
that's what makes sense.
For you guys for new, we do this every Wednesday at 7:15 Pacific time, 10:15 Eastern time, and I think 9:15 Central time for you, Eric. So yeah, check us out, subscribe, and we're gonna spoil the crap out of some stuff. So let's rock.
That's correct. We are going to spoil Dr. Mirage number 3. So the thing is, and this is part of why I want to talk about it, I mean, I always like putting the books last because that's the most exciting thing most of the time. We get to talk about cool news, and then we get to talk about the awesome books that are coming out. And right now, no shit talking on Dr. Mirage, but it's really hard to be as excited about this book, with the trailer. So, like I said, I just want to get through being able to talk about this and give it its due. The art, again, is the standout. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the writing of it. It is written well, but the art shines for me 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that, and the coloring works so well on this book with the art. I do have a little bit of an issue with the writing on this one, and as much as I've loved this book, and I still do, I think it's a very high quality book that Valiant's putting out. But I feel like, to me, there's just a little too much of the little sidekick kind of trying to remind Dr. Mirage the whole time that they're in hell, that they're dead. And it's almost like a broken record after 3 issues. There's a part of me where I'm just like, we get it. We know. I don't think you have to keep reminding us. We can see what the pages are, and the character is going through these motions of what's happening within the page. It just seems like a little too much at times to just constantly hear this side character just constantly being like, "You're dead. This is hell. This is what happens in the afterlife." This version of hell, if that's what it is, I do like, though. It's got a little bit of an Egyptian feel to it. There's a lot of cool imagery to it, and going through the pre-order edition, it did show a lot of cool stuff to kind of go into that. So, I thought it was another great issue. I think Mag's writing the hell out of this book, but I do agree, especially with this issue, the art is the standout. It's a beautiful issue.
That action scene, the fight with whatever that
the embalmer
or whatever was.
The embalmer.
Yeah, the embalmer. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm right there with you guys all the way around. The art is great, and you're dead on, Josh, with that. It's like I get it already. The embalmer was really cool. I did dig that. Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's, you know, you have Dr. Mirage, who's one of our dead side characters. You know, that's where she's kind of been in and around that in most of our books that we've had, and now we're getting this brand new dead side again. I've never been here, and it's just like written off, like it was just shunned off, and so I kind of, it's hard time for me investing in this when we get so much change in the dead side. I almost wish we had a book called The Dead Side or a series to kind of flush out just what the Dead Side is, and it could have all the characters come and go from there. Maybe our Unity Dark that we've talked about, kind of rock with that. But again, yeah, I'm right there. To be honest, I remember the embalmer part of it, the girl being kind of annoying, the Gracie. And then the Bloodshot trailer came out, and I kind of forgot what happened at the end of this book. So that's just how underwhelmed I was.
So that the crazy thing about that, and that's, I think, is kind of funny and telling just how much that Bloodshot trailer is overshadowing everything. The end of this book is Dr. Mirage almost getting killed. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I definitely, yeah, I get where you're coming from there, and I do agree with the observation that one side character is kind of annoying, but I think that's kind of the purpose. She's trying to keep Dr. Mirage off her balance, and keep her buying into the whole your husband's behind this thing, because as we saw that Grace, or whatever her name is, like nodding to these other people watching from on high that are obviously somehow involved and don't want Dr. Mirage to know what's really going on. So I think that there is a deeper story. I think maybe it's being, like, there's nothing wrong with subtlety, but maybe it's being a little bit too subtle. I don't know. But I do think that it's been a good book. And, you know, hopefully we continue, you know, getting the same quality of art, even if the story isn't amazing. But I kind of have a feeling that it's going to pick up now. I think that the other shoe is going to drop, and we're going to find out.
And one thing that kind of gets to me, it's kind of that the cutesy act, the movie act pieces that they have with the cards. You know, changing camera, change the camera to. It was okay for a book or two, but it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just getting annoying now.
I think it has to keep playing out like that, though, because it's been established for 2 issues. So it's part of the overall theme of the entire storyline. It has to have that movie studio feel to it. But, you know, one thing I thought was interesting about this, too, was how much Dr. Mirage is a little bit like Stephen Strange all of a sudden. She does, like, all these, like, war spells, and she's like, by the sigils of Sumanus. Like, she's got, like, the Eye of Agamotto somewhere, too. But it's cool, you know. Her doing combat magic was awesome. You know, as far as I can grade on this, like, I'll grade mine. I'm going to go with a 4 on this, because I still do really like the book a lot. And even though Gracie's kind of getting on my nerves just a little bit with the whole shtick just constantly being repeated over and over, I love Dr. Mirage. Awesome character. It's been an awesome series so far. I've gone a little bit higher on the previous 2 issues. I'm hoping that this is also one of those parts in the storyline where there's a little bit of things getting explained. We're not getting that stuff explained, though. We met the embalmer, that was about it. But I'm really hoping for a really strong next couple issues.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'll give this like a 3.75, 3.5, something in there. I think it is a solid book. The art is the standout. The writing is still solid, and it's not a bad book. But again, I mean, part of the unfortunate nature of being released the same time, or right around the same time as that Bloodshot trailer, it's hard to hold up to that. So that may be coloring the perception or the view of the book. Yeah.
I really like the pre-order
cover.
Oh,
that is a gorgeous cover. I really dig it myself.
And the 8 cover by Philip Tan was nice too.
It's pretty awesome. I am kind of going to be right there with Eric. I'm going to say a 3.75, and I dug it. I thought it was the art was great. I dug that part of it, and then I'm just kind of getting lost in the story a little bit. And like I say, it probably speaks to the Bloodshot the excitement knowing that was around the corner. That's kind of where I'm at. And yeah, without further ado, let's move forward.
All right.
The Bloodshot trailer. I don't know about you guys. I want to ask real quick, show of hands, who stayed up and watched the 6-second teaser? No?
I couldn't. I can't stay up that late anymore.
Yeah, I guess you got kids.
Well, Archer's been having a little bit of a hard time at night, so I've just been trying to go to bed when I can. And
Sure.
I stayed up till about 11 on Sunday night, just kind of seeing people chatting about the full release trailer, which was really cool. I mean, so many people were excited. So many people were just talking about staying up, which I don't remember a lot of that with other movie trailers. I think that's another one of those ways where the Valiant community is really unique, where they're just so supportive to be like, we just got to see that first trailer for our first movie. We're staying up all night. So I thought that was awesome. People are awesome like that.
I stayed up both nights, which probably wasn't a great idea, but I couldn't possibly sleep knowing that there was something coming out that first night. Something that I had said on the podcast previously when we were talking about the fact that it was going to be rated PG-13 and not rated R, I was saying, as long as we get to see his face exploded, then it'll be fine. I'm okay with PG-13. Well, the first thing that we got to see was his face getting exploded in that little 6-second clip. So I thought that was pretty awesome that we got that confirmation right away. Don't worry, he's going to get destroyed in this movie. So I'm cool with that. And both trailers were awesome. Do you guys have a preference between the two? I think a lot of people were really into the international trailer over the official trailer, but I would actually have to give a slight edge to the official trailer.
Let's watch them both and then let's go through it. Let's watch them.
Oh.
And then let's go from there. And all right, here, give me guys a second. I'm going to get this up and going for everyone. Let's watch Bloodshot trailer now.
And initiate sequence.
Tina, I'm home.
Memories are made of this.
What is this place?
I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but you got yourself killed. At RST, we'd rebuild the most important assets in the U.S. military. Soldiers like yourself. You're the first who we've successfully managed to bring back. But improved, enhanced. With the technology in your veins, you have an army inside you that will not only make you stronger, it will heal you instantly.
Holy shit.
Now tell me, do you remember anything?
Where are you going?
I've got unfinished business. I'm gonna find the man who murdered my wife and kill him.
Oh, it's not good. All right, shut him down. And initiate sequence. Okay, who is the next target for elimination? Tell me, do you remember anything?
Do I know you guys?
I don't think so.
They've been manipulating you.
What you think is real sometimes ain't. And initiate sequence. Sure about that? Revenge is what makes a man like you exceptional.
You know nothing about men like me.
That is absolutely fantastic.
I feel like I just heard this. Are they playing this on repeat?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
In the trailer.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think that one it has, I don't know. There's information in the international trailer, but I think that one has kind of like that feel to it, and I think that it gets across really well the premise of Bloodshot.
Yeah, and it has Johnny Cash on it.
Yeah, and we get a little bit of a glimpse of his. It seems like too, and I didn't pick up on this until I watched it on my TV, but you do see a little glimpse of him. The image that we have in the bottom right corner of our screen, where his skin is a little bit more pale, his eyes are a little bit more darker, maybe even a little bit redder, and but like when I watched it on my phone, I couldn't really pick up on that. So the first time I watched this, I was like, oh, he doesn't quite look like Bloodshot, but he kind of does look like. If you watch it like on something better, he does look like he does have that look a little bit more. And I think it's got a good cast. It looks like Guy Pearce is obviously like the main villain of this, and then Sam Heughan, or whoever he is, I don't know who he is, but he's got a humongous fan base, and it seems like he's the other one who. He looks really cool. He looks like he's an amalgamation of all the Chainsaw characters.
And he looks like awesome one of the images. It looks like he's a paraplegic. So he's probably an old military guy that was with him or whatnot. But he had, like, in the point where the car's exploding, he's got prosthetic legs, so steel legs. So there's that piece that looks great. So I heard a lot of references to Doc Ock because of him, which I get. Which is fair. But before you see it, that's just a quick first impression thought of him. And then the Dave Wilson interview, they came out talking about the white skin and saying how he had to have a reason to have the white skin and how he had to have a reason to have the red circle on the chest. Made so much sense that I dug that. I dug that statement. That made sense. And instead of just having a Superman S on his chest all of a sudden for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I think that it makes sense that Bloodshot wouldn't be walking around 24/7 with totally white bleached skin and a gigantic red circle on his chest and every single shirt that he wears. Like, it makes sense. It's cool in the context of comic books, in the same way that, like, Power Rangers are cool in the context of comic books. But I'm sorry, as soon as you put Power Rangers on screen, it's hard for it not to feel like it's for kids. And I think that there's a certain degree of, like, I love JDF as Bloodshot. He will always be the original Bloodshot. However, I don't think it would make sense to have that look in this movie for Vin, especially not for the whole movie, because it wouldn't feel as real. It wouldn't be as, like, we need to be able to connect with the character that we're seeing on the screen, and you're not going to if he's kind of that, I don't know, cartoony version. And I don't know. I think also the explanation makes sense. Why wouldn't the nanites redirect blood away from his skin to every other vital place that they know? You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes perfect sense. I can't wait to see how it all plays out in the movie, but I think that based on what I saw in this trailer, I think he looks great, and it feels like Bloodshot.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, I feel like my only kind of minor critique was just that he doesn't have the pale white skin. Because I don't care if he doesn't have the hair. And I know the hair is something that so many people just can't get past for some reason. But if the movie's good, if the action's great, and everybody's dialogue is memorable, and you've got all these actors portraying characters that kind of stick with you, I just feel like whether or not Vin Diesel has hair, it's just not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It can still be enjoyable if that's like the minor critique of it. And so I'd rather kind of go into it like that, where it's like, well, he doesn't have hair. Even if he didn't turn white at all, I don't think it would be like a huge deal either. It would almost be like how, like, in the original Spider-Man movies, he didn't have like web shooters that he made. Even though it was like a part of who he was, you know, it's kind of like along those lines where it's like you wish it was there, but it doesn't ruin the rest of the movie for you that he doesn't.
Yeah. What do you guys think of
Yeah.
the CG that we saw so
100%.
far?
It looks pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't think it might not be the best CG I've ever seen in my life, but that doesn't mean that it's shit. You know what I mean? It's better than we got in Ninjak Versus, right? And that actually I still thought turned out pretty well. So
Yeah, some of the CG in the Ninjak series was pretty decent for what their budget was. And I feel like the CG in this, it's comparable to other movies of this stature. I think it's not like Star Wars. Star Wars to me is the really the top of the line when it comes to CG. They just make things that shouldn't be real look so real. But to me this looks great. It doesn't look like it's you know, like silly or whimsical, or I don't know what I was gonna say, but like it doesn't look really bad. And I've seen some of the rough cuts of this off of someone's phone, who showed it to us, quite a few months ago, and there's quite a bit of CG to a lot of those action scenes,
Right.
but that's okay.
And absolutely,
They
I
look
mean,
good.
and then what this is doing, millions of views. Johnny Cash's song has had a bunch of Bloodshot fans rushing to that Johnny Cash song that's on here. And a lot of people are talking about this. It was a trailer that it's going well, and all of the people I've shown this have loved it. They've like, I'll go see that. That looks fun. That looks like an entertaining, fun movie. I haven't had anybody really tell me anything negative. They probably know I'm a Bloodshot fan, and they're like, "Oh, this is what you've been talking about," and they're just scared to hurt my feelings. But yeah, everybody said well.
I watched a bunch of trailer reaction videos, and most of the trailer, there were a couple of them that had done a bit of research or had heard of Bloodshot before and had a little bit of idea, but most of the ones that I watched, they had no idea what was going on. They'd never heard of Bloodshot before. Some of them, they didn't even know it was a comic until it said based on a best-selling comic. So, like, there were, I'm watching reactions of people that literally have no idea coming into this, and they're seeing this trailer, getting an idea, like, what I think this trailer does really well, and I think the other one does almost as well, is it gets across the core essence of what Bloodshot is, as, like, how you present Bloodshot as a character. Like, this is the perfect way to show somebody, like, he is designed to be a killer from a dead soldier, and his memories are suspect, and he doesn't really know what's going on and can't. Like, that's, I don't know, man. Like, I think it gets it across really well.
What do you think about the PG-13 rating? Because here we are looking at an action movie. It's Bloodshot. Bloodshot is a book that portrays a lot of violence, a lot of gun violence. We obviously have seen an image where his face gets blown to pieces and the nanites repair it. It's a bit of a gruesome scene. I know for me, I feel that you can get away with a lot with PG-13. You maybe don't have the language, but it still looks like great action, and there will be some blood to this.
If you literally translated Bloodshot comic books onto the screen, panel for panel, word for word, it would be PG-13. Like, there is some violence, but I don't think that if you had to cut any, it wouldn't be very much. Like, I know people have pointed out a couple things that maybe, like, oh, you couldn't do this in a PG-13 movie. I don't know. I've seen some pretty, violent stuff in a PG-13 movie. You just aren't going to have sex or bad language. And that's fine. We don't have those in the comics either. So, to me, PG-13 isn't a limitation. It was more that an R rating would have opened doors that the comics can't. Whereas a PG-13 rating keeps it what the comics are.
Yeah,
that's my
I agree with that. So, and we're still getting the violence. That was my main thing, is I was worried about the violence being taken away, but we're still getting that. We're still getting the blood. We're getting the nanites doing their work. We're getting the guns, rock and roll. And then shout out to Dinesh for those Easter eggs with like the Miko cover that's tied in. That's the
international.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's
Watch
get right
too?
into it, guys. Here we go with the international one, and we are going live with that.
We are leading the way. the greatest human advancement of all time. The technology running through his veins augments his strength, his reflexes, even his healing capabilities. He's unlike anything we've seen before. And he's entirely in our control.
Commencing memory fabrication. Next mission in 3, 2, 1.
And initiate sequence.
What happened? What am I doing here?
You got yourself killed. You have been given a second chance. You have an army inside you. They call them nanites. They rebuilt you.
Those are in my blood.
They are your blood. Welcome to your future.
I had a nightmare. Something doesn't feel right.
They've been manipulating you. What you think is real sometimes ain't.
I had a wife, and you took her from me. You turned me into a weapon, and now it's pointing at you.
You can't get in, Kenny.
No chance. Oh, man. Shit.
Yes, and so there is that one. Phenomenal again. I like this one because it explains his power. So a power set. You're getting the power set explained from the beginning. It looked awesome all the way around. Can I say one of my favorite scenes already is going to be that semi wreck, because Bloodshot's driving that and he just commits suicide and then just gets shot to pieces and then rebuilds right then and there. That scene's going to be phenomenal. I can already tell you that.
One thing I really like in the trailer is the drop kick. It just seems like it has a lot of power behind it, and the guy goes
100%.
flying. Looks awesome.
Yeah, that totally is a huge. And then actually, I think that probably my favorite thing that the international trailer has is the line when he's like, "Those things are in my blood," and she goes, "They are your blood." Like, I don't know why, but that's so fucking cool to me. Like, for some reason that line stands out to me as being really awesome, and I think both trailers are really good, and I think that the international trailer does it has more of like a in your face, pumped up feel to it, whereas the official trailer has like, I don't know, it's hard for me to describe. The official trailer just seems to have more of a like intellectual approach to it, I guess, and the international trailer has a more like in-your-face action approach to it. Not that either is necessarily better than the other. I just happen to like the official one a little bit more.
I think I woke up to these being out on the internet, and I watched one right after the other. And even though I saw the official one first, I kind of have a bit of a hard time knowing which one I like more. I just woke up to them, and so I just felt like they're both great. I also like a little bit more of the dialogue that is presented within the first one. I like the part near the end when he's arguing with Guy Pearce, and he's like, "You don't know guys like me," or something like that. And I kind of like that moment. And sure. it does show a little bit more emotion from Vin in it. But I don't know. To me, it's hard to pick one. It's like picking your favorite kid. You just don't have.
And then
one,
the dialogue with the guy who's telling them like they're in your head. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. And then the one that goes the mind blown part at is this song on repeat? But all around, like, it was a little humor in that first one at times, and then there was a little bit more serious, and then that happy face at the end of the international was just oh, that's not good, and then you just see them two guns ablazing. His chest is glowing, and yeah, I'm not disappointed at all with what we got. I mean, I wish for a little bit more white skin to be that comic look, but then again, that might deter somebody away. So I'm okay with it, and having it progress, I believe we're going to see it more, and I think we'll see it in the movie.
Well, and it's the first trailer. We might get another trailer between now and February.
I think that this trailer, a lot of people are saying, oh, this trailer has the whole movie in it. We don't even know, like, this trailer didn't even tell us a character name other than Ray and Gina. And I'm pretty sure, as I don't remember who said it, I think it was Scott said in the comments, calling it that
Right.
Gina isn't real. And I'm sure that I mean, I would put my money there as well. So really, we only know Bloodshot's name, Ray, which may or may not be his true name anyway. So yeah, I mean, this gives away very little. All this trailer really tells us is the premise of who Bloodshot is, kind of like I was talking about earlier. It doesn't really tell us anything about what the story's going to be. It just tells you where Bloodshot is at when the movie starts, which is him being manipulated by his memories being changed. That's where he starts the movie, and I'm sure that 90+% of the movie is going to be after that. So the only thing we see other than that, just establishing who Bloodshot is, which I think is what this first trailer needed to accomplish and did. The only thing we got other than that is that little peek at Chainsaw, Sam Heughan or whatever. But yeah, I think the main goal that this trailer needed to accomplish is to tell people who have no idea who Bloodshot is what he's about. It accomplished that, and I don't think that we got more than the first 5, maybe 10 minutes of the movie.
There's one image that I caught that gave away a little bit, and it looks like it's the Eliza Gonzalez, where it looks like she's blowing up the servers at RST, Rising Spirit Technology. And so there's that, to where it kind of maybe blowing up his old memory, his engrams. That was given away on the trailer. It's going through the slides that you guys will see. So there's that. And I heard somebody say they were mad about the RST, which I find that just fine. RST, Rising Spirit Technology, PRS, it's okay with me.
Yeah. I don't think they would just have their Project Rising Spirit written on the side of the building. At least by having a different name, so it sounds a little more normal.
The other thing to remember is that PRS is a really big guitar company, and I'm sure that, I don't know, if I was involved in this movie, I would have said we don't want it to be PRS. I would have said, let's come up with something different, and I think RST makes sense. PRS is fine, it's what the comics have, I have nothing against that, but I do think that it makes sense to have it not be PRS for the movie. That's just me.
Yeah. One thing about the trailer, and I'm terrible at this, is there's quite a few Easter eggs here. The only thing I picked up on was the image that looks like Miko's cover from Bloodshot #1. Yeah. And even the shot that's from Rise Zero's opening page, I didn't even piece that together until Sonic Dan put that up.
Yeah.
Which I thought, it's a great shot. It's a great looking image right there, but I'm just terrible at that. Even with Marvel movies and having read those comics for since I was a kid, I never pick up on anything. I just don't have the mind for it.
My favorite thing, honestly, like, I think the Easter eggs and stuff in that are cool. I don't look for those as much, so I don't really see them that much either until people point them out. Like they said ahead of time that we were going to see that injection thing. We saw that, so I noticed it because it was pointed out beforehand. But I don't know. That's not really what I'm looking for. The stuff that was cool to me, another thing, I guess, man, I'm coming up with things in the international trailer that I like more and more now that I think about it. The other thing that had was the continuation of the scene from that teaser where his face gets blown off, and we see his face getting the rest of the way stitched back together. And I think that, yeah, dude, like, that's so awesome. The way that they slowed it down and you see the goldies, do that shimmer, and then they pull everything back to his face and stitch it back together, and he's good to go. I think that scene, that red washed out scene in the trailer, I think that's going to be if not the opening scene of the movie, one of the opening scenes of the movie. I think that's where we're going to start, and I think it's going to be a badass.
I was just looking up RST abbreviations, and it kind of makes sense. It's kind of maybe a little nugget in there. Reset is what it stands for, and how they're. So that just totally connects. And there's a couple other ones, but that one just reset totally makes sense for that, and then rapid storage technology. But I like reset, like RST, and they're just the way they're doing it with Bloodshot. Get them back in and reset them.
Yep, 100%. I mean, I'm really curious to see. I know, John Hoosier, you brought up the Isaac Gonzalez blowing up the server or whatever. I don't know that we know what that means. Like,
right, and that could be where they put an engram into him where he kind of figures it out, so they rewrite him a little bit, so they make him think he did it, so now he's good, and they just it's more of the engram games that they always play with Bloodshot. I don't know what it means, but it's just kind of interesting that you do see that scene.
I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm saying too, is like you can read into it a million different ways, but it could mean any number of things. And I think that's what's cool. Like that scene where it's like the Matrix, and it's Guy Pearce and Vin Diesel. We don't really know what that scene means. Like that's what I guess the reason that I'm kind of hammering this point home is that the biggest complaint I saw from people who maybe weren't as familiar, and I even saw it from a lot of fans, was that the trailer gave away too much. We know the whole movie. And I think we really don't know anything about the movie. I think that we know the movie is going to have those elements of Bloodshot, which I would consider to be the core elements of my favorite version of the character. And that's all we really know. There's going to be badass fighting. I remember joking on Facebook a while back that I wanted guns, knives, memory loss, and guns. And we definitely got all of that, double-breaking guns included in the trailer. So I think, like, that's what we know. This movie is going to be balls to the wall, badass Bloodshot. Beyond that, what the story actually is going to be seems like it's leaning toward being similar to the beginning of the Straczynski run, but who knows? I mean, it could take a lot of left turns when you're dealing with a Memento-esque Total Recall
and Eric Heiser writing
movie. And Eric Heiser writing it, it could go a million different directions without... I mean, look at The Arrival. I mean, I was just talking about that today. Like, that movie, it flips on you so hard, and it makes so much sense. And that wasn't even really set out to be a mindfuck movie. This is setting out from the beginning to be a mindfuck movie, written by a guy who knows how to do that.
Right, and then here's what if Guy Pearce's character is also an engram too? He's not even real. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. There's so much on there, and that could make sense with it. Yeah, I am not taking it for that. I'm taking it for this as a movie I want to go see, all in all. So I think everybody who's here watching this is going to agree with that. There's no doubt that we're all going to be going seeing it opening weekend. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely pick out the first
First available opportunity, I will.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, this is the idea that we're finally here is honestly surreal. Like, it's hard to believe that we've gotten to this point. I mean, we've been talking about, the possibility of movies coming for 4.5 years, maybe longer.
Yeah, I want to say that we have been talking about it on this podcast since really close to the beginning. We're always waiting for that moment, and I think that next February could be a really interesting time as far as the publishing side goes, because it seems like, at least from my interactions on social media, looking at Get Valiant's Facebook page, Get Valiant's Twitter page, we've had a lot of people just start showing up recently with the movie news. So I would really hope that it does translate to people picking up these books, because that's where everything starts and that's where everything continues. We have no idea what happens after this first Bloodshot movie as far as the Vin Diesel Valiant universe goes. To me, this movie looks like the kind of thing that's going to be a hit. It really looks like a really good, polished piece. It looks like it's got great action. But you never know. I mean, you just never know how anything happens or how it could work out. But if nothing else, I know that the movie looks great. I know that Valiant's publishing slate looks really well put together for next year also. And I know this is totally Eric's line, but like it does have that feel of like being a good time to be a Valiant fan, because everything is there for you. You can read the books, you can see a movie. And we never had it like that.
Yeah.
We've never had it like that.
Getting an action
this
figure,
is
dude.
we have the action figure too.
We're getting it, dude. We're getting one of our movies that's coming out. Major movie, Sony, Vin Diesel. You know what I mean? I think Miller is going to be Wilson's going to be a great director for this. Yeah, all the way around. And one of the things that I've seen to kind of piggyback off you, Josh, is just like Hoodoo TV's YouTube. The Bloodshot videos we've done when we covered Bloodshot Salvation, we've covered the Bloodshot at Ace Comic Con, is the views have all of a sudden spiked in the last 48 hours. They've gotten quite a bit. Get Valiant's views have gotten up a little bit since then too, and so we're seeing a lot of this after effect already kind of coming in right now, 3 days into the trailer launching, and that's just awesome.
Well, and the trailer was number 6 on YouTube that first day. So, I mean, we're talking millions of views. And then at the end of the night was the Star Wars trailer, which obviously it's Star Wars, and there's no competition there, but it doesn't have to be a competition. But for a long part of the day, people were talking about Bloodshot everywhere. And that's really exciting when you're a fan of this stuff. I mean, for me, it was the first Valiant book I ever picked up. And it's crazy to think that we're here. And I almost just wish I could. I mean, I try not to bug Dinesh about stuff, but I just have to wonder with him, like, what it's like to go from being the fan to then having these characters and getting them back into the limelight, getting them back into the world of comics, and now being the guy that is getting them on the screen. I just have to feel like for that dude, he's totally, like, people say, like, living the dream, like, you're living the dream, like, when something good happens. He has to literally be living the dream.
Oh,
perfecting
of what he has wanted to do with his life.
Yeah, I agree. And then I would also say, as a Valiant fan, and I didn't think I would ever say this, but right now is the time to be a homer. Like it is the time to speak up about this good movie that we're having coming out, and let's not like frown upon that we're not Paramount's got Harbinger. Right now is the time to really pick it up and get people excited for it. Don't try to quit the buts and really like get what we got. And then I think more will come of it from that, and we will see more when they show that it is a big property, that is property that people enjoyed and liked. But it's a good job to be an advocate for Valiant and to really get into this character you like, even if there's some things you don't like, Sean. And I'm talking about you with the hair. You hate the hair, Sean. Just let's try to get past it, man. They'll CG it for you if we campaign enough.
Yeah, no, I think that that's true. I mean, Paramount is looking at doing a Harbinger movie, but if this flops, I think that there's a possibility that they just don't do it. Nobody's going to touch a Valiant movie if this movie doesn't do well. If Vin Diesel can't sell Valiant, who in Hollywood can? That's what the producers are going to say. They're going to say, we're not going to drop $100 million on a movie.
Can I jump in on that, Eric? On DMG's a movie company, and if they're not selling a movie, what might happen with comics? I mean, I hate to go that route.
Yeah. I mean, everything is supposed to be separate. So if they can't sell the movie, I would hope that we continue to get books. But I do think that there's probably a small percentage of people who are in this because they are speculating on things. But at the same time, the books have been good. I would just hope that we don't look at it like from a negative. I don't want to even think about, well, what if it doesn't work out? That'll stink, but I feel like it's going to work out. This is going to be something that is going to be popular. It's going to be something that's going to be a hit at the box office. That's just my thought. I'm going to be positive with it.
I agree. I think that it'll go well. I just don't want us as Valiant fans to do anything to shoot ourselves in the foot, because I want to see an Exo Manowar movie. I want to see Galad and Ninjak and Livewire on the screen. So I want this movie to do well, and even if it's not interconnected, I really want to see other Valiant characters get brought to the screen. But to kind of transition to the comics, we have, we're all talking about Bloodshot right now and supporting Valiant and being positive. I think a great thing to do is read the Bloodshot comic right now. And like we had kind of talked about before, we did get the advanced copies of Bloodshot #2, and it's such like anybody that thought that trailer was cool and the action was badass, you need to be reading this Bloodshot book right now. I mean, it opens up like this is an ash can, it doesn't have color, but it opens up with Bloodshot jumping into like a fucking propeller.
Yes.
Like
there is so much about that issue I wish I could see in color right now, and I guess like we're pretty close to the weekend. We're close to the weekend. If that's the book that comes out next week, then we'll get the color copies. But there's so much about the issue where I was like, I just want to see the color on this. It looks beautiful in black and white. But
it's such a badass book. I think this is going to be a big thing for me to say, but I think that right now on this Bloodshot book, we're getting the best Bloodshot interiors we've gotten since Analog Man, and that means I'm including Bloodshot Island
over La
and
Rosa and Miko.
Badass arc. I'm saying La Rosa's Analog Man is the high mark.
That's your favorite.
Yeah.
I'd say that's your favorite.
Well, Salvation was awesome too. So everything but the black issue.
Yeah. Hey, one last thing I wanted to say about the movies real quick. You know, like, people are kind of up in arms about Harbinger being at Paramount, and there's a lot of talk about how we can't have a shared universe, we can't have all these things. I think the thing that people forget is that we don't necessarily need that. Bloodshot doesn't have to mingle with every single character in the Valiant universe. And it would be nice if we got to have the original plan of having things lead into Harbinger Wars. But with however this thing works out, we could have a bunch of great Bloodshot movies. And they can still do all that other stuff. And if it happens, we used to not have Spider-Man with Marvel. It used to always be a Sony thing. But then with the popularity of the Marvel movies, those two companies were able to work things out. Things like that could happen. But I'm just going to say for right now, we don't have to have a shared universe. That's not the main thing that has to happen.
We never
These movies
saw.
just have to be good.
We never saw Adam West and Christopher Reeves have a team up. So, I mean, it shows that it can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if we don't ever, like, not to mention Bloodshot and Harbinger crossing over in Harbinger Wars, even if we don't get a Bloodshot #2 and this is it, like, I'm cool with that. Like, obviously I would love to have more, but even if this is all we get, I'm still going to enjoy it as much as I can. And obviously if it ends up being bad, then it does, but I really don't think it will be, and that's going to be an enjoyable experience no matter what it connects to or doesn't, and no matter what comes after it, you know. So that's what's important. And like Scott is pointing out, Iron Man was done by Paramount. Different studios did different movies in the early MCU. So if the early MCU can have an interconnected universe with different studios involved in doing different movies, it's got to be at least possible that Valiant could have that happen as well. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. And we don't know. But I don't think anybody really knows, and people are acting like the sky is falling. And
here's a little thing. Did you know that Iron Man was produced by Blur Studios? Which is Tim Miller, partners of Dave Wilson.
Yep. The first one?
Oh, the shorts. The Iron Man, the shorts that were attached to it.
Oh, crazy. So they've been involved in a lot of this stuff. I know that they did effects and stuff on Star Wars, was one of the things that they were talking about. So yeah, I mean, they have been around, they've done a lot of stuff, and I think that by the time the Bloodshot movie comes out, I think it's going to be a pretty badass package. And like I said, I think we've got a lot of good things to look at the company as a whole. The movie's insanely exciting. Cannot wait. Absolutely stoked to see more. But we've also been talking about all these amazing comics with Ninjak coming out. You know, we're really gonna have we're gonna have Bloodshot on the shelf, Ninjak, Exo Manowar. You know, if Shadow Man and Quantum and Woody are coming, I mean, having all of those huge, just those big names, like those tentpole characters all on the shelf again, it's going to feel like we're back, in either 2012 or like 2015, when we had all those characters on the shelf. And I think that, like Josh said earlier, I think this is a great time to be a Valiant fan. We've got a lot to look forward to, a lot of really awesome stuff coming out right now, and a lot of awesome stuff that just came out to revisit.
Yeah.
If you
It's
you
not the
want to,
ground
so
floor,
that-
but you're kind of on the first or
Yeah.
second. So come and jump on.
Yeah, this would be a great time to be a new fan.
And then next
I
week,
agree. Especially because you have so much stuff that you can go back and read right now. Not even talking about the stuff in the 90s either. Just like going back from 2012, it would take you a while to get caught up. But then having a movie to look forward to and all that kind of stuff, it would totally be a great time to be brand new to all this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that they planned really well to have, when the Bloodshot movie hits in February, they're going to be releasing the first trade of the Tim Seeley, Brett Booth Bloodshot run. That's going to be a great opportunity for people to hop on, get a trade, read a story, follow the monthly comic, and start diving into the past stuff. And I think that, especially considering the way this movie is being presented in the trailer and comparing that to what's going on in the Bloodshot book right now, I think that there's a really good consistency in the way that they're approaching it from this really action-heavy angle. And I think that the people who enjoy the trailer, the people who enjoy what the movie appears it's going to be, are really going to enjoy this Bloodshot book that's coming out right now. And then, like I said, have an opportunity to go back and see what came before it. But yeah, whether you're an existing fan or a new fan, this is a great time. And as Hoosiers got up there, Bloodshot #2 is coming out, as well as Roku #1. And I know that there are some of the long-term fans that aren't as excited about Roku, but I actually am really stoked about it. I think that she's a character that has a lot of interesting stuff going on with her, and she's just a total badass. Plus, if we're getting a Ninjak book, getting more Ninjak characters out there and developed, good all around.
Yep. We need that for when they make the Ninjak movie. We need a giant universe